right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. And the first thing I want to talk about is Bakkt Exchange's Bitcoin futures sees a slow start on the first day of trading. So Bakkt Futures came out, but what were the numbers? I was pretty excited to see the numbers, and honestly, a little bit disappointing, although it's their first day, so fair enough. So minutes after the launch, the first Bakkt ICE futures contract changed hands at $10,115. And the number of contracts in the first hour stood at just 5 total. At press time 10 or so hours later, 28 contracts have been traded, with just one at sub 10,000 prices. So really not particularly amazing. So Bitcoin futures on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or the CME, registered a volume of 460 million in its first week in December 2017. So far, Bakkt futures have registered a volume of just over 280,000. So it's got a long way to go. So you could say, oh, well, it's only its first day. But CME in 1 week did $460 million. So even if you extrapolated that throughout the course of the week, it wouldn't be anywhere close. Now, there might be some reasons for this. CME, of course, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, has been around for much longer than the Bakkt futures and Bitcoin itself. So naturally, they would have more customers, right? So more investors, more institutional investors that they can call and reach out to. So that makes sense. But this has been around for a really long time, so this isn't like it just sprung up on us. Institutional investors have known about Bakkt futures. Even just regular investors have known about Bakkt futures for a considerable period. And so it's interesting to see such low volume when we have expected this to come over and over and over now. In fact, it's supposed to have came about three times or so already, and it was delayed and delayed and delayed, if you will. So 280,000 volume, not much at all. That's really what, like 18 Bitcoin or maybe 28 Bitcoin or so, about 10,000 a piece in total. So it's really just completely mediocre. Binance or Coinbase or maybe even Kraken probably do that 280,000 in volume and within hours at best, even maybe an hour, maybe it does that. So not even close, a big disappointment, but it is the first day, and so there is a lot of time for more institutional investors to come along. So more reasons for that might just be that they're a little afraid to invest into Bitcoin, and they want to see how it goes for other people first. They say, okay, well, this Bakkt futures thing is new, so we're not going to touch it, right? We'll mess with CME because we know all those regulations, and it's just in fiat, and we get fiat, etc. We can do that. But Bakkt is different because we're going to be getting Bitcoin. We don't know how they work too well. I thought this was pretty funny. This was just on the Bitcoin Reddit, and it's upvoted close to the top. And it's just like, meanwhile, Bakkt, the warehouse, and there's just absolutely nothing in it at all. So I just thought that was pretty funny. So again, they've had like a month to load up their Bakkt warehouse, and they never said anything about how much has been put in the warehouse. And so it's kind of a mystery. Like, I wonder how many millions of dollars of Bitcoin or something like that has been pouring into Bakkt Exchange, waiting for them to long or short the price. In fact, it really didn't do anything for the price. In fact, today we are down at least $200 or $300 from the 10,000 or so mark there. So obviously that didn't have much of an effect. They do daily and monthly futures. So I don't know if it's really Bakkt that actually had a negative effect on it, but it certainly didn't have a positive effect. We could say that for sure. I highly doubt that Bakkt itself had a negative effect, especially with only 280,000 in volume, which is just, meaningless essentially. When it comes to even Bitcoin's small market cap of hundreds of billions of dollars, which is just 280 million out of that, just sort of a drop in the bucket. So it was almost certainly not them. But again, disappointing since the warehouse started loading up, I think on the 6th of September. And it turns out maybe like 10, 20 Bitcoin or so were maybe loaded into it. So not a lot. So moving on here, a question a lot of people have with crypto and quantum supremacy. So what Google's quantum supremacy means for crypto. So in a new scientific publication, tech giant Google claims to have reached quantum supremacy because there's also the D wave, and then there's quantum computer, and that's supposedly there's two different quantum computers, like two different kinds. Google's uses the better kind apparently, but it's slower, and then D-Wave uses the slightly inferior kind, but it's faster in that regard, from what research I was doing on it before. So a 53 qubit quantum computer. This definition means that the machine has solved the problem that no classical computer could solve within a reasonable time frame. The implications of this could be so far-reaching that NASA removed the paper which it originally published here. It has been reproduced here in a partially readable format. So I don't know if NASA read about it or retracted, but so according to reports, the new quantum processor just took 200 seconds to complete a task that would normally take thousands of years for a regular supercomputer to do. Google researchers wrote, "To our knowledge, this experiment marks the first computation that can only be performed on a quantum computer, or quantum processor," they say. So only 200 seconds to complete a task that would normally take thousands of years. So some kind of code breaking they did. Obviously, some kind of long code that could, that would have taken a normal computer a ton to try all the different combinations. So I don't know the exact experiment, but that's just sort of what I'm guessing. Just some sort of cryptography break. So Bitcoin's cryptography is currently 256-bit encryption, while elliptical curve digital signature algorithm is used to create private and public key pairs. It will be a while before any quantum computer can crack that, but it may be possible within the next few years. Now, I don't think it'd be possible in the next few years, and I don't know why anybody would want to quantum break Bitcoin anyway, for a number of reasons. First of all, the first major reason is that D-Wave, Google, etc., these are major companies that aren't going to do something like that and then face the repercussions of that. Second, the government probably has quantum computers or wants to buy them or has the better version before Google announces theirs. They were like, oh, look at our 52 or 53-bit quantum computer, qubit quantum computer. It's amazing. It's the first of its kind, when they probably have something that's like double that, like the NSA's like, and just putting $1 trillion into their pocket, and they're like, oh yeah, no, we only got a 53-bit, but really they have like a 200-bit qubit. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's the case. I don't even mean to get too conspiratorial here, but you really think like the government with its virtually infinite resources that it could just print out of nowhere would not have the fastest quantum computer? Like that's just silly. But so I don't think it's going to be within a few years, because the third reason is that nobody would want to crack Bitcoin, because if you did, and you'd have to sell it like immediately. And I guess you could, but you would have to crack it and then sell it all immediately. And good luck doing that. So of course, you could get a lot of money doing it. I suppose there is reasons like that. But at the same time, in cracking it and breaking it, you have destroyed Bitcoin. So you better have cashed out as soon as possible and then got your money as well, which is going to be hard, because maybe you'll be found out when the news comes out that Bitcoin was cracked and somebody had sold, 15 million Bitcoin. Well, then you got a problem. So, or you could do it in secret and secretly fund yourself. You could do it in secret. But again, the amount of money that the government or Bitcoin or Google or whatever has probably wouldn't even be worthwhile breaking random keys to like get out a few Bitcoin at a time, since they make millions or billions, close to trillions of dollars a year, like Google. So, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything to them, to be totally honest. The entire market cap is so small, it's less than how much the company makes in a year anyway. So I don't think it's going to be for a while, because nobody's just going to get this in their hands. Like nobody, like regular Joe, is just going to get one of these. So I think it's going to be quite a while. And then I think the solution is easily just like a hard fork of Bitcoin, where the keys become longer or quantum proof. I'm sure they're already working on that. But more on the subject of the FOMO game. I was talking about the other day, the Ethereum network carries a greedy smart contract which burns up 53% of all gas. The contract named Fair Win, I'm sure it is a fair win, burned above 53% of all the gas. In the past month, the same contract has shown spikes of activity which resemble a FOMO game type of lotteries that rely on users buying tickets. However, there are indications that the game's organizers have a way of taking over the game, sending constant transactions to clog up the network, and that way the organizers can actually buy the last ticket and win the jackpot. Looks like a FOMO gambling session. So again, a FOMO game's clogging up the Ethereum network. One reason why it needs to expand. Another reason why you shouldn't be playing FOMO games. Again, they're smart contracts, and you wouldn't believe how many terrible comments I received when I was talking about proof of weak hands and all these other FOMO games that come out over time. And I'll make a video about it saying don't do this. This is a Ponzi scheme. And everyone's like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's a smart contract. I know it's a smart contract, but that doesn't help it. I mean, proof of weak hands was the third iteration. The first two just got drained because of problems in the smart contract. And then again, just because it's a smart contract doesn't mean it's a Ponzi scheme where, like, if you invest in later than other people, you're not going to make anything, or you may lose everything, or the developers could just pull a highly unfair buy the last ticket and win their own jackpot and then run off sort of thing. So again, I don't know why people do this with their money. I really don't. I think they treat cryptocurrency as sub money and their fiat money as actual money. Like, you wouldn't do this with fiat money, right? Like, if somebody was on the street saying, hey, look, this game, it's a betting game, it's a lottery game. And, well, some people do. It's called the idiot tax. It's called the lottery. But I suppose to each his own. Moving on here. Binance to launch U.S. trading in 24 hours and what to expect. So one of the world's most successful exchanges we know is Binance, has garnered fans across the world and the United States. Despite being a relatively new exchange that launched in 2017, it managed to rival much older and established exchanges. So in Binance's U.S. dedicated version, which is going up apparently in 24 hours, on the 24th or so, something like that, many of Binance's functions, such as margin trading and IEO Launchpad, will not be available. So no IEOs, initial exchange offering, no margin trading, so no leverage trading. In addition to that, many trading pairs and currencies will be unavailable to unclear U.S. regulations. So again, Binance US is going to... it might do well in the future. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying it's going to go under or anything like that, because Binance is Binance and they do incredibly well. So maybe they'll do incredibly well in the future, and I hope they do. But at first, it's going to suck. It's going to be terrible. So trading on US is launching in less than 24 hours with a short list of available currencies similar to Coinbase Pro. The currencies will be available on launch are Bitcoin, Binance Coin, Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Tether. So Binance Coin will be on there. Users can also deposit in Binance US with those currencies. Currencies rumored to be added in the future are Cardano, BAT, Ethereum Classic, Stellar, etc. So not many. Basically, your options have been destroyed. Of course, if there's the good stuff: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, etc. But your options have been severely limited. So Binance will initially serve only 37 states, though. Within the United States, is likely to expand to the remaining 13 states. Traders from the following states will not be able to trade on on Binance US. That's Alabama, Alaska, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Louisiana, New York, of course, North Carolina, Texas, Vermont, and Washington. So a huge chunk of the U.S. population unable to even trade on it in the first place. So in Binance, U.S. traders will be able to deposit in either cryptocurrencies or bank transfer. Credit cards are not going to be supported initially. So as with any new platform, some form of promotion or incentive to join is usually needed. Binance US offers two big perks. The first is zero trading fees for all trading pairs until the 1st of November. Not bad. The second is a $15 US referral program for both the referrer and the referral. So that's going on my channel for sure. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Binance US is actually not going to be too bad. This will likely be paid in Binance Coin. Well. As with the wide majority of Binance's products, we can expect Binance to be a great trading platform. So again, I say it sucks because you lose a ton of the pairs that you initially had. So many of them. But at least a majority of the good coins are on there. Even Binance Coin, that's pretty nice because a lot of people were wondering what they were going to do with their Binance Coin because they thought that it was just going to be considered a security of some kind because it's directly from the exchange and that they wouldn't be able to trade it on Binance US, but apparently you can, so that's not too bad. The referral program, actually not too bad. I actually kind of like referral programs like Coinbase's, where if you sign up for somebody's link, you get the money, they get the money, fair and square. Things like even like BitConnect didn't have a good one. It was just like if you signed up to somebody's link, they got nothing, you got everything. And then like Genesis Mining, you get 3% off. You know what I mean? And they get all kinds of hash rate so that they look better. But yeah, that's not bad. But anyway, moving on to CoinMarketCap here. Let's give a little refresh. 9,865 Bitcoin. We are going down, down, down on a lot of coins here. Litecoin somewhat resisting though. Interestingly enough, Litecoin is holding on strong at like $72. It's been around there for a little while. You can see that it has fallen from, I think it was like 79, but holding on pretty good comparatively. However, Bitcoin taking one of the biggest hits at 1.5% there, down to 98.65. So how low are we going to go? I don't know. I've read some articles that it was like 7,700 was like the next resistance zone. I read articles that said 10,000 was the resistance zone, and apparently we have busted through that. But who knows? Maybe we'll go up anytime soon, down anytime soon. That's the wonderful world of crypto. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. It helps me out a lot. My social media in the description below. But as usual, I will see you guys next time.